So why are you leaving?
Well, 27 years later, look, I've had an amazing journey at Verizon. I started out working in retail stores, kind of worked my way up, did almost every job you can imagine in wireless. And about 3 years ago, I was running our wireless business, and about 3 years ago, I got a knock on the door from our chairman to have me come do something completely different. And it was all about standing up new businesses for Verizon. So there was no structure, there was no ideas, it was simply white paper, and we had to figure out what we were going to do to develop the future revenue for Verizon. And so I got this great opportunity to be exposed to the media world, Internet of Things, establishing global businesses. And also
you realize there's life outside of wireless.
There is life outside of wireless. And I also had aspirations at some point in my journey to maybe do something different. And there was one other job at Verizon, and it became clear that that job potentially wasn't going to be mine. And so I thought, you know, I'm going to take a risk, and I'm going to go do something different. So that's I'm not telling you what I'm doing yet, but I am going to go do something different. I'll be with Verizon till the end of February, and then we'll see where it leads.
What's that decision process like when you know that you aren't getting the top job? Because I'm assuming that's what it was. It wasn't going back to the retail stores.
Right, yeah.
So what's that decision process like? What advice do you have for other people in the room who might have been or will be or are currently in that position?
Well, it's interesting. I talk to a lot of women and men across, you know, all of Verizon, and then people that have been with companies for many, many years. And sometimes they forget that there's value in what they do. And so what I would tell people is, and Verizon has been an incredible experience for me, but take a risk. You're capable. There are things you can do. You can take your experience and apply that to other things. So you don't always have to stay for, you know, the security of what you know. Mm-hmm. Stepping out and being bold is, it's scary at times, but it's also incredibly fun. If I wouldn't have done this other job that I've been doing for the last 3.5 years, I may not have as much courage and as I do today, but I would encourage everybody, you know, you've got a skill. Comfortable is not a good place.
Okay, I think we've heard that a few times throughout the conference. So before you made your announcement about leaving, there was another announcement from Verizon, and this one was more revelations about the Yahoo breach. Pretty much couldn't get worse, it turns out. Seriously. I called it the breach that keeps on giving when we talked on the phone, and she didn't laugh. Yeah. But it turns
I did something, it just wasn't laughing.
Yeah. I couldn't see you.
No, I know.
Good thing, probably. But it turns out potentially everyone with a Yahoo account was impacted by this. Did this have any relationship to you, any correlation to you leaving? You helped lead that acquisition and integration.
No, I think if you follow the acquisition and the length it took us to get it done, part of that was working very closely with Lowell McAdam, our chairman, and our board on really understanding exactly what we were getting into. And obviously the deal was supposed to close much earlier, and then the work we did to negotiate the price down and make sure that we were protected legally was something that we worked on. And so, no, they're unrelated. We expected, as with any time you uncover some of these things, there would be more that we would need to do. Now, the good news is all of those users went through a password reset at the first notification. So this is about more notification, not about the fact that these customers weren't protected during the last time. So,
anything else that you could have done, that your team could have done to vet what was going on and to vet Yahoo? And would that have made a difference in your decision to acquire?
No, throughout the entire time, and we had a huge, team that was doing due diligence. And if you think about the strategic rationale for us doing the deal, it was always about us getting scale in the media business. We made the acquisition of AOL. We needed more scale to compete with the other, players in this space. And so all along, we made sure that the asset wasn't damaged for the strategic reason we were buying it. And so I feel like we did all that we could at that point, and then we covered ourselves to protect ourselves and our shareholders, and that's why the transaction got delayed and ultimately the reduction in price.
What is the plan for Oath now that an Oath is this created construct with AOL and Yahoo, right? What's the plan?
Yeah, so
not that you're going to be there, but
I'll be there for a while to help make sure it continues to have the foundation to be successful. You know, the plan is really to be a relevant third player in this space. And the challenge we had with AOL is we only had, you know, roughly 300 million active users on our platform. The addition of Yahoo puts us over 1 billion, so we now have bigger global scale. We can now have more ad inventory, and so it's to create really great content experiences on the platform, specifically focused on mobile, to scale that business for advertisers and to create a really great partnership between brands, and then ultimately be a player in the ad space, a relevant player.
Do you think that if you had decided to stay, I mean, would there have been more similar acquisitions?
Look, you know, the way I would compare this, I was around for the earliest days of Verizon coming together, and Verizon was the coming together of Primeco, Bell Atlantic Mobile, AirTouch, and GTE. And we put those assets together so that we could have the aspirations to be the largest domestic global carrier, domestic carrier. And ultimately, we didn't stop there. We did a number of other things to put that together. I see this business as very similar. Now, you know, again, I probably won't be here for the next few things, but I would say scaling this business, you can't stand still.
What about you're currently the highest ranking woman and have been for quite a while at Verizon. Does it concern you at all? Do you think about the fact that you're leaving a void?
Yeah, it does. You know, I'm disappointed that we didn't make more progress in that space. It's something that I've worked very hard in partnership with the board and with the members of the executive team. The good news is I just we were able to get a chief strategy officer coming in who's a female. So there'll be 2 of us for a few months, and then we're going back to 1.
And then
so we've got more work to do. But Rima will be joining us in the November timeframe. But this is, you know, something you've got to keep working at. And the way I always see this is that you can't start at the senior levels. You have to start at, you know, the bottom and the middle of the organization to continue to groom women to be ready. And bringing men into that conversation is so incredibly important so that you have sponsorship when the right opportunities come along. So I would have liked to see more progress there, but I'm hopeful that the good work will continue.
Other than yourself, of course, who do you think is most responsible for helping you to propel at Verizon?
Oh, I had a number of sponsors along the way. You know, there's the current chairman, a few members of the board who I've had relationships with, the CFO, the recent CFO. So a number of sponsors who I've worked for and, you know, who've helped me. Takes a village, so a lot of people.
So do you want to go run something now? What are you looking at? Well,
the best part about a non-compete is it gives you a year to think about what you want to do. So it's sort of a forced vacation, which I'm going to enjoy a little bit of that. Scott Moritz from Bloomberg sent me a note when he saw what was coming around the wire, and he knows my sister who used to be in the industry, and she retired early to garden, and he sent me a note and he said, gardening, ? And I responded back with, I have no hobbies, ! So, you know, we'll see. I think what's important, you know, to me now is that, you know, the world is not just about telecommunications. I have significant interest in media and IoT, but it's more important about who I work with and the kind of work that I'm doing, and thinking that, you know, what I bring could make a difference. And so we'll see, but I am going to take that forced vacation for a bit.
Well, it's great timing for us, so we'll see you back in a year when your non-compete is over, and you can tell us about what you're going to do next. Thank you so much, Marni.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.